within your reach to join us today so that we can have a great conversation about immigration stuff. So please, let's take care of that. Today's topic is very, very simple. It says positioning yourself for success during the immigration ban. Again, positioning yourself for success during the immigration ban. So we're gonna be having this with Oni, lawyer Oni from Oni Law, and she will be talking to us about the business side of immigration instead of family immigration. With that being said, I also like to take this opportunity to actually ask you to please and please and please and please share the link to your loved ones again, and friends and family so that we can have a very great talk today. Before I proceed, we will do today's topic. Today's icebreaker in a different contest. And the contest is very simple, right? It's a little bit practical now. Instead of a yes or no aspect of our icebreaker. So, should in case something happens to you or you're going through something very, very, very urgent, who will be the first person that will come into mind that you will call? Who will be the first person? Once you put this person's name down, just go ahead and give the person a shout out. So just be like, hey, shout out to OFORI-ASENSO from Mampontaine, and that will be basically the person. And I hope the person will be here to actually see you giving them some shout out about how important they are to you. Sometimes we got to show those that matters a lot in our life that little concern and also a little appreciation for them to know that they do really matters a lot in our life. So please, if or should in case something happens to you, who will be the first person that will come in mind, or who will be the first person that you will call? Go ahead and put their names down and wherever they are so that we can go ahead and read your comments and also give them shout outs. Again, like I said, it'll be very great if they're here to really watch you, appreciate them, and be grateful to them for being in your life. And there's also one thing I want the people to understand: the fact that someone may be your number one go-to may not necessarily mean that you are the person's number one go-to. It varies. Again, that doesn't take away the fact that the love you have for them is genuine and pure. At this point, we're gonna go ahead and acknowledge our sponsors for tonight's show. And as usual, in case you're looking for a mental health speaker, please contact Dr. Phil at feelgoodservices@gmail.com. So reach out to Dr. Phil and he will be able to walk you through some process and also some treatment that will help you in terms of mental health. And again, if you need him to speak about it too, he can definitely do that for you, whether it be in person or virtually. Also, I like to recommend Feel Good Homes to you and your family, as well as your loved ones. Feel Good Homes are they are located at Pokwase and also East Legon, Adringano, and East Legon Hills. They have a 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, a 3 bedroom, and even a whole house in case you want to rent a whole house. They also have a studio in case you wanted something very cute, just for yourself for a couple nights and going about your business. Also, in case you're looking for a house to buy, please do so and contact Feel Good Homes about that. They do have a 4 bedroom house that they're selling at East Legon Hills. So please make sure that you contact them to get all that good stuff taken care of. I also like to recommend Tap send. Again, it's easy, fast, secure, and very convenient. I heard that some apps are actually, asking people to send money to pay money to send money back home. Well, tap send is giving you a zero transfer fee. So if you're not using tap send right now, then I'm not sure what you're using. You're out of the race in terms of having an app that actually have your interest or heart. The promo code is very simple: PKP-KAY. Please make sure that you do put in a promo code after you download and sign up before your first transaction, and you'll get $20. And also, once you do that, you can send me a screenshot, and I'll send you a bag of rice so that you can have a good time with yourself. And if you have some family, you can have some good time with your family too, and friends. Those of you like to have people over to hang out, cook, and eat. So please make sure that you do get yourself acquainted with startups, and we have a lot of things to offer you. And typical examples we have in this show, and bringing this show to you as our corporate social responsibility. On that note, I want to say thank you all, and also thank all those that even really shared the link. I can see all of you who are sharing on Facebook and Zoom. Trust me, I have 72 eyes. I can see everything. And also, I want to say big thanks to our producers for tonight. Nana Lord always, making sure that things happen and being transferred over to your doorstep, and also A-Class and Danny for making this possible. So both directors, with Damasi, for all your help. At this point, let's go here from Director Danny. Director Danny is our launcher for USA, Canada, and Italy, if I'm not mistaken. Director Danny, are you still the launcher for Italy? Just in case there are people in Italy watching us right now.
Yeah, so I'm in charge of
I
Canada,
cannot hear
US,
you.
and then do you hear me, PK? Doctor?
Okay.
Doctor, okay, do you hear me now? So yeah, as you said, I'm in charge of Italy, Canada, and then the US.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
thought something changed. All right.
Yeah.
What is the update?
Well, PK, so
Well, before the update, last time you almost ran away from the icebreaker. So if you happen to be in a tight position, who's the first person that comes in mind?
Today I might sound a little bit romantic. I think my wife will be my go-to person, the first person for a point of contact. Yeah, that for sure.
No.
Doctor, why are you laughing?
You are laughing. You ask him, am I laughing? Now that would be different if you were not laughing. And he asked why I was laughing,
No.
but you were laughing. So I was helping you laugh.
Okay,
sometimes.
you were just assisting. That's good. It's good to smile. So no problem. Anyway.
So what is even your brother's name? What is his name? The nicer one that I met in Ghana. What's his name?
Afote.
Afote. You sure Afote won't be the first person that comes in mind?
Oh,
don't worry. I'll let your wife know. I'll let your wife know.
No,
don't worry.
No, it depends. It depends on the case, but I think my go-to person will be my wife anyway.
Okay.
I'm sounding a little bit romantic today, but
okay, proceed, Mr. Romantic.
Ladies and
gentlemen, please type your response and also your shout outs in the comments section. We're gonna read it for you too.
I actually want to hear A-Class what he will say. Catching an alone is so funny, dear bra.
No, Lord, you're still so far, dear bra.
Anyway, so PK, I wouldn't take much of our time because when we're about to do immigration stuff, I think people are here, everybody's ready to listen to it. I'll just take a few time for the updates. Abusha, for this platform is big and huge. Most na Obia joining Abushano. And for this reason, I would say it's a tap has actually opened up. Opesu Obia any from the app tap, right? Our app now Obia, you look up there top on the top. There's some amount we are on a country awards Obia. So you can share your code and also earn from people signing up. In case you don't know, you can just take that advantage and use that too. Share now so kakra na microphone send na audio back. Okay, is everything okay? I'm seeing it different.
Lord, I'm going for that.
happening? Okay.
You know, sir, when I saw that, I thought that was actually a class sharing what you were talking about. Like, you know how, like, pulling
Yeah.
up the app. Yeah, I thought that was what it was. I don't even
Yeah.
know.
If somebody can restrict it, maybe
Is there a class here?
um maybe he will join later, but
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All right.
So PK, it's just an invitation for everybody to collaborate in sharing, bringing people to the family. Into BBA or Habia now or access to your app, you can start sharing and get more money. Yeah, said being now you can send to Brazil, Mexico, and other countries. We are opening up every day, every year. Now, yeah, incorporated the WhatsApp to the app where you can use your WhatsApp to also send money back home. In TPK, I wouldn't take much time. Instead of a bit, me move on to the main agenda. Anyway.
All right. Lawyers here. Lord, yeah, no, co-host, my way. Okay. So, it's kind of difficult to see people whenever we start the show. And all right, so she is a co-host
Lawyer
right
is
now.
ready, yeah.
All right, so like I said, tonight's topic is very simple, and we are going to be dealing this with our very own lawyer Oni, and basically the topic is positioning yourself for success during this immigration ban. And the voice that you're going to hear right now is none the other but lawyer Abigail Oni from Oni Law. Lawyer, at the same. That's probably the only one that you understand, right?
That's the only tree word I know.
Hey guys, don't be fooled by she said that's only tree. She really speaks and understands tree. I mean, she understands tree. I won't say she speaks. She understands tree.
No, not pa.
This is somebody who has lived in Ghana for a whole year and a half. So don't think you're gonna try to buy her or sell it to other people. She'll rather bring you the change. Lawyer, welcome to the show once again.
Thank you.
And we're excited you being part of the HRTV family and also the most anticipated show, Time with Tata Send. And we're excited to have you again to talk to us today about some immigration stuff, and also next week you'll be back to talk to us about relocation and also investment in Africa. So some good topics to see you about it next week. Again, I just want to take this opportunity to also say invite next week's topic. So just in case. So please be mindful. Next week she's not coming to talk about legal stuff. She's coming to talk about relocating and investing or in Ghana. And we have some other resource personnel that will be coming on the show with us to also discuss the experience and how they are moving to Africa.
Yes.
Going.
Yes.
So let's talk about today's topic.
Okay. Fantastic.
Tell us what you mean by that. And before that,
yeah.
Should anything happen to you right now, God forbid, who will be the first person that come in mind? I think I have an idea who that person is.
As in, who am I gonna call if I'm in an emergency?
Your sister.
Yeah. I have sisters, so any one of them. Any one of them.
But out of them, which one?
Oh God, I can't say, because if I call any one of them, honestly, I'm good. So I'm blessed in that way. I'm grateful.
All right.
Yes. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Doc, for today. And thank you for everybody that's on the call. Today's call is going to be a short one, and it's going to be more of a conversational session, so that it can allow room for people who do have questions, etc. So pretty much everybody knows what is happening in the United States and globally. And it is definitely affecting people from certain countries, specifically a lot of African nations and those from the Caribbean. And so today's conversation is looking at how do you position yourself while you wait? And specifically while we wait for this ban to lift, whenever it's going to lift, And how does one still stay positive and push forward and persevere? And so I hope that at the end of today's conversation, you feel empowered and you feel also encouraged, and you have some strategy and tips to help you navigate the challenges ahead. So before we even start, I want to just say that nothing is impossible if you put your mind to it. So no matter your situation, please know that as long as you are positive, you can overcome. So with that in mind, let's talk about what exactly is the ban. And I touched upon this a little bit last time. This travel ban is in two folds. You have the complete full ban, and then you have the partial ban. Now, the difference between the two of them is that with the partial ban, it still allows some kind of migration into the United States. As you know, that with the full ban, you're not able to come into the United States. And that's the thing. A lot of people ask, okay, how do I come into the US? How do I bring my family members? If you are affected by the full ban, you will not be able to come into the United States. Now, if you are affected by the partial ban, then you are able to find certain ways to come into the United States. Then there's also the pause. And that's really what is going to affect most of the people on the call today is the pause, because I'm assuming that the majority of people are already in the United States. And so how does this pause affect you? And just as a disclaimer, my focus more so is on work authorization and business immigration. Of course, if you do have questions that fall into family immigration, I will answer your questions, but this is not legal advice. This is simply an informational session. So in terms of the full ban, we know that in terms of African countries, you have countries like Libya and Somalia. Unfortunately, you cannot even get a visa to visit the United States if you're from these nations, let alone migrate to the United States for either work, family, green card, nothing like that. Now let's talk about the partial ban. With the partial ban, most of the countries that are affected, again, you have Libya, Somalia, Nigeria, Sudan, Tanzania, Eritrea. Ghana is not affected in the partial ban, but then you also have high security risks. And so these are nations that have been identified to say, okay, people from these nations are abusing financial funds in the United States, welfare benefits. And so we want to scrutinize these nations. And that's where Ghana does fall into place. While you are in the United States, you have to understand that if you are from these partial, full, and also security nations, it will affect you. Now, the pause that is currently happening in the United States is mainly extra scrutiny on applications. The misconception that a lot of people feel is that, oh my goodness, I'm not able to move forward and I'm not able to actually put in my application. That is not the situation. You can still go ahead and put in your applications for adjustment of status, etc. The only thing is that you have to understand that there is going to be a lag. There's going to be extra scrutiny. And this is why it's extra important now to, dot your I's and cross your T's. I just want to pause because I see that there is a hand up. I do want it to be a bit interactive, so it's not.
You sure you want to go that route instead of finish everything and just come to it so that you don't have to lose your train of thought? Okay. I mean, it's up to you. However, if that's okay, which because most presenters want to finish so that they don't lose their train of thought, and sometimes the questions can keep piling up, and now we end up losing the main information or all the information that we have. Maybe if you want to take this, I can unmute them.
So what I will say is then if they can type the comments, if you don't mind typing the question.
I mean, some people feel comfortable talking about it. So if you want to take it now, we can. If not, we can just have them. He'll be the first person to speak when you're done.
Okay, Charles, I'll take you now, and then if anything, I can always go back to it. So you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Menu cost. Hold on just a second, and I will mute. Unmute him. Okay, go ahead, Charles. Charles, tell us where you're calling from and your question.
I'm calling from USA, Columbus, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. He said, I just wanted to know, even though they said it was for the visas for the those who have dependents in Ghana, and they are still doing the interviews and things. I just want to know if they interview you and after interview, what next? Are they going to disqualify you totally because there's no visa for you, or there is something they do for you to, keep your results for the post to be, pushed or something of that sort? I just want to know after the interview what happens.
I'm so sorry. I actually cannot really hear Charles very well.
Charles, you are muffling a little bit.
Yeah.
I actually thought you were able to pick it up, but then
Yeah,
Charles,
I wasn't.
Charles, I don't know if it's your network. I think what I heard at the end of there was like after the visa interview, what next? That's what I heard clearly.
Yeah, because I'm working and I'm using my phone. It's very noisy, so I don't know if you can even hear me.
I mean, I can hear you. I just can't pick up exactly what you're saying. Right now, what you said, I heard
I
it.
just want to know, they said they have called for the visas for the immigrant visas. They have called for some time. I don't know, and they said they are still doing the interview. And I just want to know after they have done the interview.
So okay, Mr. Charles, I got you. So basically, he said that since there is a hold on the immigrant visa, but they're still running interviews. If there is a hold, what is next after the interview?
So I still didn't hear him that well, but I'm just gonna answer. I'm gonna try to answer your question, and I would like if you can also type it out so that when I do the Q&A, I can answer. When it comes to the full ban, people are actually still going in and doing interviews, but unfortunately, once it's time to proceed at the consulate to actually get your visa, they will deny you. They will explain why, and they're going to note this proclamation that has been in effect in the United States. And that is why people no longer are able to come into the US. Now, that is for those that are affected by the full ban and the partial ban. Now, with the partial ban, there are exceptions, as I've said, and that's usually through work authorization. You are able to come into the United States. So I'm assuming that the interview question he means is consular processing questions, not necessarily within the US where you're doing adjustment of status. So I'm gonna stop there, and he can type out the question. I'm happy to get back to him when I do the Q&A. So let's just talk about again with regards to the pause and affected nation. So when everybody says, there's a pause, you have to understand that it doesn't mean that visas are not being issued in the United States. Sorry, it doesn't mean that adjustment of status is not being issued within the United States. Now, outside of the United States, there is a delay. There is suspension depending if you fall within the partial or the banned countries. Consular processing has slowed down completely or even stopped. But within the United States, this pause does not affect your status or work authorization eligibility. That's why it's important, if you do have a viable case, to still continue and do your application. Whatever it is, if you're looking to do a green card, if you're looking to adjust your status to another work authorization, it's encouraged to still go ahead. There is scrutiny, but that doesn't mean that people are not receiving their adjustment of statuses. Now, the purpose of today's conversation is what should you be doing while things are slow? And I want to just give a few examples that I have come across and that I tend to see commonly. So let's say that you are an H-1B holder. Maybe you came here through employer sponsorship and you want to go ahead and maybe do an EB-2 national interest waiver, and you want to adjust your status in order to get a green card. If you know that there's going to be a delay, then it's even good to start early. Let's say you have another 3 years ahead, maybe your employer is yet to renew. You want to go ahead and say, how can I make sure that I qualify? Like before, when it comes to the national interest waiver, the United States is looking at this candidate, this person. Is this person someone that we want to give a green card to? What you're doing, does it benefit us in the United States? Prior, things were a bit more, you can say lax, for lack of a better word, but now things are extremely scrutinized. You want to make sure you can go back to school and get your, get your master's degree. You want to do volunteer work. You want to make sure that you're doing publications. You have opportunities that are free. When people say publications, you can even start a Medium platform. Medium is free, and Medium is a way for you to share your ideas, for people to see maybe some of the publications and work that you're doing. You want to blow your horn. You want to make sure that people know that this person is a viable citizen, and we want to make sure that they stay in the United States. So in addition to publications, volunteering, you also would like to maybe open up a blog in addition to the Medium. Let people see what you're doing that is good. This is not the time to be humble. It's the time to show yourself, if you know what I mean. You want to, put yourself out there and make sure that people can see you. Join organizations, you join clubs. You just want to really position yourself to make sure that you are that person, that viable candidate. And these are some of the things that you can do as you wait. This is not the time to fall into depression, but rather it's the time to be extremely proactive. So these are some of the things that I would say for people that are waiting. How do you position yourself? You make sure that you put yourself out there. You make sure that you qualify. If you want to adjust maybe to an O1, these are all statuses that require exceptional skills and skill set. You want to show that you have these things. Schooling is not just getting a degree. There are also courses online. There's Coursera, there's certificates, there's LinkedIn certificates. This is a wonderful time to beef up your LinkedIn profile and what you're doing in community, and make sure that you're going to conferences, whether they're free or paid. You just want to strategize and make sure that, you are that person. You are that go-to person. These are certain things that you can do. You also want to be very careful. And as much as I say to put yourself out there, when it comes to social media, make sure that it's clean. You don't want to have controversial things on your social media. I would not encourage people at this point to be politically inclined. Let's say that you have strong views against the government. I necessarily would not encourage you to go and share your opinion right now, because these things, they do watch it and it may come back to you. Yes, there's freedom of speech, but we also have to be strategic and use wisdom. Another thing too that I would avoid is politically charged organizations or opposition parties. This is the time to try to be neutral. You can keep your thoughts within yourself, and you can just make sure that you're focusing on the goal. So if I am a researcher, if I'm a mathematician, if I'm a scientist, if I'm an engineer, I am embracing and really going all out in this industry. So I'm joining clubs. I'm trying to do publications. I'm doing volunteer work. I'm taking courses. I'm getting certificates. I'm letting people know on LinkedIn. I'm networking. I'm building myself and my resume, because that resume is extremely important when it comes to many of the adjustment of status, that the majority is going to be a national interest waiver, EB2, which is what most people do to get their green card. So these are certain things that I would recommend that people do as they wait, is how you can position yourself. Another thing I would also say is that if you know your situation is dire, you may also want to consider other countries. If you are looking at maybe continuing with your education, you may want to consider another nation like Canada. You might also want to consider the UK. You may want to consider Australia. You may want to consider the Netherlands. There's so many other places that I also think may be able to offer you that greener pasture that you're looking for that may not be the United States. The worst thing right now is to just be out of status and stay out of status without a game plan. And unfortunately, going for an asylum may trigger deportation depending on your situation. Of course, this is not legal advice, this is general information, and I would have to speak to you one-on-one to know your situation. But I do think that this is also the time to think broadly. If it's not necessarily that you are tied to the United States, look at other countries. If you don't necessarily want to go back to Africa, maybe Ghana, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, wherever, Cameroon, you may look at other nations. You may consider Canada and say, okay, let me look at Canada. What kind of master's programs do they have? How can I go ahead and put my best foot forward for an application? Or let me look at other countries in the West or even in Asia. So I really think that this is a time to be smart and to be honest with your situation. We don't know how long it's going to take for the pause to be lifted. So you really want to weigh your options. And for those that know that they are out of status, and maybe the only option right now is either, a marriage which may be proven to be fraudulent, or even asylum, I would encourage you to also look at other options outside of the United States as well. Lastly, definitely avoid things that are going to put a mark on your head. What are some of these things? Owing child support, drinking and driving, evading your taxes, extreme parking tickets, violence. You may say, okay, lawyer, you don't need to tell me this, but you'd be surprised. A lot of times when you hear these stories, how one person, their application got revoked, maybe they went for their citizenship test, their naturalization, swearing in ceremony, and it was paused. You may not know the full story. For the most part, there tends to be a criminal underlying activity that causes that revocation. So also, be smart about this waiting period. Do not involve yourself in any illegal activities. Try to avoid things, that are causes excessive drinking, drugs, gambling, things of this nature. Be careful with who you align yourself with. Even things like Zelle. If you're Zelling money back and forth, maybe overseas, doing international transfers, be careful who you're sending these money to. You want to really go into your book of contacts and really, I would say do surgery and clean out those that you think may not be for your best good and align yourself with those that are winning. So this is really the time to be smart, to be active, and also proactive, and to make sure that you stay encouraged. I am going to stop now. I do have a few more things to discuss, but in case there are any comments, I can take some right now.
All right. So I think Kay has his hand up first. So Kay, unmute yourself. Tell us where you're calling from.
Okay, thank you so much, host and lawyer Oni. My name is Kwame. I'm calling from Connecticut. So, just a bit of a background to my question. Um, I'm on F1 visa, a PhD student. My I-20 is still valid, but my visa expired, a few months ago. But I got married last year to a naturalized US citizen. Like she was a Ghanaian, and she naturalized 5 years ago. I'm in the process of adjusting my status. I filed for the I-130, the I-485, and then I-765. But on the latter two forms, that is the I-485 and then I-765, I remember I selected, so it asked whether I have worked without authorization. Um, so when I was filling the form, I thought I hadn't, because per my visa rules, the only place I'm supposed to work is in the school, which I was like I'm a graduate assistant, and now I am an adjunct, professor. So I just want to know if, and I feel my interview is coming up soon. I just want to know what I should do because I kind of worked. I don't even know.
Kwame,
Mhm.
you're pushing the limit.
Okay.
There are some things that I think said I mean tree more. Never be one more can this our can because you're alive.
Okay.
What I say, yeah, and I think it will be better off say will be further back. Because me huni and kawa beka no. Me huni and kawa beka, but I have to stop you right there to save you.
Okay.
Why? So
Okay.
I think it will be better for you to talk to her. But I'll let her explain what she can do for now. I'm
Okay.
glad you did not say that.
Got you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doc. I appreciate that. I was gonna say the same thing. Like, where? Just to clarify, you said that you think you answered no.
Yeah, I think that is where I stopped him from.
Okay.
It'll be better we just take it offline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna drop my information in here. I
Yeah.
am offering a 15-minute free consultation for Tap Send. And then we can talk about it. I mean, the good thing is that you are married to a citizen, but we can break it down offline. So
And he said his interview is coming up soon, so I'd be glad if you can squeeze some
yeah,
time in
yeah,
and just talk to him before that.
yeah. We will definitely can talk. I will drop my information. Just let me know. Just say Kwame from Tap Send in the email header, and then we can talk even as soon as tomorrow. I don't know if he's still on the call.
Yeah, he is. He's in the chat. He's a copy that.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. All right. You want me to go ahead and read some questions?
Yes, please.
All right. So I know we just started off with our icebreaker. If you just joined, the question is, who will you call should in case something happens to you? Who will be the first person in mind for you to call? And Kay says, good evening to everyone in here. Okay, good evening. It was nice hearing from you. Also, the link, hold on. I would like to share this whiteboard. That was not coming from me at all. It says that message said they came from me. I did not. I barely type when I'm on the show. That message did not come from me at all. Let me go ahead and just, how did they get access to this? Let me delete this up. All right. So, and Phyllis answered the question from the icebreaker that we did. Phyllis said basically it's gonna be her mom, her brother, and her friend. Okay, good to know. And this one is from Kwame. Kwame just responded to you saying that to copy that. If I think I missed someone's question. I think I missed someone else's question. But anyway, you can proceed. And please, if you do have any question, you can just go ahead and put your hands up and we'll call you, and or you can just type them in and we'll just read it out for you. Francis Offer says, lawyer, just to confirm, free 30 minutes consultation for us. Did you say free 30 minutes?
It's 15.
Huh?
15
15.
minutes. Yes.
But the 15 minutes is free.
The 15 minutes is free. Yes.
Okay,
See?
cool.
Yeah. Someone said 25. No, 15, please.
You can tell we have Africans in the booth, and this is a bargaining negotiation process right here. I like that. All right, please proceed.
So the other thing I want to know, I think somebody, okay. The other thing I want to say is when it comes to ICE, I do want people to be very, very careful. People are protesting and they're sharing their voice. People are going out in the streets with placards. I would kindly advise to reconsider. Again, you do have civil liberties and you can do, you can express yourself. But at this heated moment that we're in, I would also advise that people are more cautious about public gatherings. Maybe going out to do a protest, going out. Oh, wow. Someone just asked a question that I was just thinking.
That's from Chioma.
Yeah, they said, let me see.
Chioma says, if I want to join an anti-immigrant ICE protest, would that affect me? I think she wanted to say, should that affect me?
That affect her. Okay. Okay. So it's interesting that came up. I guess that prompted them to ask that question. Right now, as I said, if you know that you are, in between status, I would not necessarily advise people to do it right now. If you are a U.S. citizen, you can go ahead and express your civil liberties and the duties that you have. But even we know of stories of citizens even being attacked. So I would be very careful right now with things that cause public gathering, protesting, placards, things in which your image will be captured, etc. God forbid that ICE is there. So just be careful with these kind of things. It's not to say that you are not pushing for people's right, because it does affect you, but it's also to take precaution during these very critical times that we are in. So I hope that answered your question, Chioma.
Chioma says, if my partner goes and is not a citizen, will that affect me as well?
Yeah. I just answered that. When it comes to, I hate to say this, but the thing is, it's the reality. Right now, there is kind of a hierarchy where you have citizen. You can even say, born and naturalized citizen, it is one category, but there are some misconceptions right now about the fear of losing your citizenship, and I can touch upon that. Then you now have other statuses and you have out of status. So I would really look at my situation and say, okay, is this the wisest thing for me to do right now? And if you feel that it may not be, I would maybe caution against it. I just want to say something real quick about the citizenship aspect, because I know some people, I've gotten a lot of inquiries about that. In order to lose your naturalized citizenship, it is a very high bar that the court has to prove. And so there are some there, because now fraud has been focused on in terms of, scrutinizing someone's citizenship. But please be aware that it is a very high bar to me, and it's not common that you see people lose their citizenship. Usually it's things like, an enemy of the state, an enemy of the country, someone who is a terrorist, a domestic or foreign terrorist, these kind of things. But do not feel fearful. If you are a naturalized citizen, you can still travel, you can still come into the US. You have all the rights as a as a natural born citizen, other than you cannot become president
The
of the
president.
United States. So that's just something too that I want to just like clarify as well.
All right. So Stephen D says, under current conditions, I would advise all Ghanaians, regardless of status, to avoid any public protest. Oh, well, okay, that's a contribution from Stephen. But I think the question from Chioma is very, very important. So just imagine you married to somebody and you just minding your own business. You just don't want to be a part of any of the stuff going on. But then your spouse is that, public activist, see things going on, not too happy about it, and want to voice the opinion about it. And now he shows up or she shows up in an interview with you. Well, for the purpose of this argument, I'll just use Chillman because so let's say he shows up in an interview with you, and now he's been blacklisted for something that you have no idea about, and he's a citizen doing his thing because it felt like that's the right thing for me to do. And now you being Chillman minding your own business, you have to deal with this. I don't think it's even fair. But again, I understand how that can be a ripple effect on you for you to just deal with something that you did not directly, involve yourself with.
The thing is though, Doc, just with this ICE thing, when it comes to what concerns people on this call, most people, they are trying to adjust their status from a work authorization to a green card or from green card to US citizen. Being at a protest and then leaving, that's not going to affect you. Why I answered her and said, be careful, is because there's so many instances where people are being arrested just for being at the protest. And so when you now enter into arrest or being confined, that's when you get into the area of having a criminal charge, which may affect you.
No, I understand that perfectly. But I think to his second question, she asked the second question.
Okay.
She's talking about this is the case. She's not the one doing it. Her partner is the one. Again, everything is in
It's a
hypothetical statement, right? This is the case whereby the husband is the one getting into the protest or maybe getting arrested. How does that affect her when she's the one that is in the need of the status of change of status, not the husband or the partner? So how does that affect me? And I think that's why the question is, could that be a possible issue that can affect her?
Yeah, it can affect you if the worst case scenario, let's say that your partner is the one, maybe they're a citizen and you are not, and they're the one that is the petitioner. If the way things are going, there's a situation where citizens have been deported to other countries. If someone is deported out of the US, that's definitely going to affect your immigration because it's like they're not even here anymore. So yes, the worst case scenarios, it can affect you. Especially in the areas of deportation, but these things are rare. Yes, citizens are being apprehended, but it's not to the severity of non-citizens. And even with the ICE, I would say raids, a lot of them are tipped off and they are going after people who have criminal activities, whether they know or don't know. It's just that now what is considered criminal, it's broader. It can include, fraud. It can include omission. There's so many things that go into this. So that's why I would just avoid being in those kind of situations in the first
Period.
Yes.
All right. There is no other questions here. I'm gonna check on Facebook. First I'm gonna check on YouTube right now to make sure there's no question on YouTube. Christian Bende says 20. I think the 20 was for the minutes that you were talking about in terms of the free time. So I'm gonna check on Tatupsen Facebook page first to see if there's any comments. Okay, there's no comment yet on that side, and we're gonna go to HITV to make sure if we don't miss anyone's question. Okay. All right. Nothing yet. If there's no more further question, I think we will probably Well, Charles says something, but it wasn't in regards to the question on the topic. If there's no more question, we'll probably go ahead and proceed in wrapping up. N says voicing your political opinion publicly in person at demonstrations, events, or even on social media while you are a not citizen or worse with the delicate circumstances is not advisable, especially social media, right? And that's a question.
Yes. Thank you so much for that. I don't know if you were here earlier when I was giving tips what to try to avoid. And I said, I would suggest to be very careful online in terms of voicing strong opinions, whether for or against the government at this point, also understanding your status, because social media is being scrutinized. And so, yes, I agree with what you're saying. I definitely do. I want
Okay.
to just also say for those people who are outside the US, because I know I focused in the US, and for those that were not on the call earlier, in terms of just how do you position yourself for success, I talked about making sure that you stay in status. That is the first thing. Please make sure you stay in status. If that is switching, adjusting your status from one work authorization to another is extremely important to know ahead. Do not wait to the last moment. And I said that earlier. Another thing too is, you want to make sure that you're employable and protected. That is really the first thing. You do not want to start to accrue, out of status days. I talked about investing in your education. I talked about really looking into pursuing a master's or a higher degree is extremely strategic right now because it's going to open you up to other work authorization opportunities. It strengthens your H-1B eligibility and strengthens your EB-2 national interest waiver eligibility, gaining work experience, looking at earning certificates, looking at Coursera, looking at LinkedIn, publishing if you can on your own platforms like Medium, on a blog, pitching to even local publications, even Christian publications, Muslim publications, secular publications. You want to build that evidence of impact, looking at volunteering for organizations, looking at aligning yourselves with certain clubs. This is very critical because most people do try to get their green card through the EB-2 national interest waiver. If you want to adjust to an O1, if you're also looking at other employer sponsorships, and definitely start early and apply, do the preparation for your documentation. I wouldn't necessarily expedite applications now because because of this delay in applications, but it's not stopping you from moving forward and doing your application. If you're outside of the US and, this partial ban or full ban affects you, just know that eventually one day it is going to go away. There's always ebb and flow when it comes to immigration. People were saying this is the worst, but there's been worse before. So you want to look at targeting multinational companies. What are organizations and companies that have an international footprint that will be more likely to maybe sponsor you to go abroad? Even multinational companies like banks that may want to expand. I'm sure you guys know of companies like Access Bank, Zenith Bank. These kind of banks, they actually also have chapters in the United States. That's another option, the L1 path, which allows managers, supervisors, executives, people who are being sent to the United States to set up a second branch of an existing company in their home country. And it could be even your company. So that's another thing to look at. Just building your eligibility for an H-1B, an EB-2, and EB-3 possibility. So I definitely think that also is very important. Like I said, please try not to overstay without filing and adjusting for something else. If you know that your time is running up, speak to an attorney and look at options you have to adjust your status, even if you're back to a visiting visa. And so also I was try to avoid leaving the United States right now. I do understand that there's circumstances, there are deaths, there's weddings, celebrations, but if you can, try to stay put right now. And also understand that everyone is feeling this heaviness. People that do work at USCIS are also, they also want to help. Everyone is trying to navigate the system. And even though there are delays, it doesn't mean that people are not receiving their adjustments of statuses, their green cards, and their citizenship petitions. So I'm going to stop now again. I don't know if anybody has questions.
No, not at the moment. But I want to say thank you very much for such a great presentation and also breakdown for the information that you've given to us. Thank you very much, as you always been very, on point with it. I was about to ask for you to put in your contact information for people to actually reach out to you. That is very necessary because I think somebody asked so that they can get scheduled. There you go. And this, Francis Affair, this is a beautiful response to your question. She also dropped her social media handles and also not the social media handle, but her websites.
I'm going to give my phone number as well.
Yes, and also the number. So that is good stuff. I want to say thank you very much. At this point, I'll ask if A class is here so that A class can sign you out. A class, if A class is available. If not, Dr. Dunny, can you please sign her out? All right, the number is already here. The number is 347-503-0520. All right.
All right, Dr. PK.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hold
I'll
on.
see.
Hey, I just see a class message, so I'll see on
Okay.
mute. But I see no banner because I was looking for him right before I made waiting man. You know. But he's the co-host. He cannot mute himself.
Yeah, I'm now co-host now. Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you very much, dear lovely sister, for the knowledge shared so far. And we pray that as one of the first person who asked the question, when he comes now, you take good care of him and the rest of those who will come as well. And we appreciate you a lot. Your time, your effort, your sleepless nights, and everything that you spend on Tata Send, we are so grateful. And God bless you so much. And may you open more doors and bigger windows for you to flourish through. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you so much. God bless you too.
All right. Thank you very much, Loyoni. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. And we will see you again next week on the relocation aspect. And I can't wait to see all the awesome guests that we're going to be dealing with next week as well. The resource personnel. Yes.
Thank you. And for those of you who are shy to ask your question, make sure you email me. I dropped it. It's info@onilaw.com. You can go to onilaw.com. All my information is there. I dropped my number, 347-503-0520. You can call, you can text anytime. Within 24 hours, someone will get in touch with you. You guys stay safe, stay encouraged, and I will talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you very much. This is where we draw the curtains to the main segment of tonight's show, which is Time with Tatapsen, live on HRE TV every Monday at 6 p.m. And I want to say thank you all for joining and also being an astute viewers and also support of this prolific show. God bless you all wherever you at. I greet you with the time and the season wherever you're right now. And also big shout outs to all Muslims who fasted and celebrating their feast at this point. You have suffered, you have toiled for all these days fasting and praying, and I think you deserve all the rights to enjoy and have a good time. I want to say on behalf of HITV and Top Sen, thank you guys again for coming. Big shout outs to my producer Nana Lord and also Director Danny and Director A-Class for helping us bring the show to you. And most importantly, big shout outs to Lawyer Oni for actually making time out of a busy schedule to meet with us tonight. At this point, we're going to hand over the show to Uncle Jimmy for Top Sen Focus, where every information is discussed concerning whatever issues or concerns that you have with your app. This is where you get a chance to have a one-on-one information and also one-on-one contact discussion with them. Also, producer is going to drop the link to the HRTV platform where we actually welcome people to engage us with topics and also resource personnel who wants to come on the show. Last week, we have some good amount of people who really wanted to, introduce themselves and also come on the show. Those of you who messaged me back door that we communicated, I want to say thank you guys very much. And your time is very, very much appreciated. We're looking forward to a successful communication in terms of bringing you guys on board. And also, Director A-Class will also drop the link to the Friends of Top Sen, where any issues or concerns that you have for Top Sen, you can actually, drop it over there so that they can get resolved with you, because all the ambassadors and all the leaders of Top Sen are also there waiting. Again, the only app that you can use to send money back home is Top Sen. Do not forget to send money back home. If you already did, please send information to your loved ones and friends. Download the app and make sure you use the promo code PKAY, and you get $20 in your first transaction. My name is Dr. PK OFORI-ASENSO, and this is where I bring you to in terms of tonight's show.